Welcome to Saurabh Sir's classes. We are discussing CAT 2019 Slot 2 paper, and we move to the second passage. The second passage starts off by saying war, natural disasters and climate changes are destroying some of the world's most precious cultural sites. Google is trying to help preserve these sites uh, by allowing users access to 3D images of these treasures through its sites. So the first couple of sentences tell us that there are some very valuable cultural sites which are facing destruction due to war, natural disasters, and climate change. And it is also telling us that Google is trying to preserve these sites by scanning 3D images and uploading them on their sites. But the project is raising questions about Google's motivations. So there is doubt on Google's motivation and about who should own the digital copyrights. So these are 2 points which are being debated. So the debate is around Google's intent and ownership of copyright. Some critics call it a form of digital colonialism. Now, what is the sentence before this? The sentence before this is talking about Google's motivation and the ownership, and then it says some critics call it. Now, it is nothing but who should own the digital copyrights. So, digital colonialism is the ownership issue of the copyright. So, this is digital colonialism. That means someone is trying to take away the ownership of the copyrights. When it comes to archaeological treasures, the losses have been mounting. IISc blew up parts of the ancient city of Palmyra in Syria. Now, this is an example of war destroying an archaeological site. IISc blowing up Palmyra. And an earthquake hit Bagan, the ancient city in Myanmar. Natural disaster. So earthquake in Bagan. So this is example of natural disaster. Damaging dozens of temples in 2016. In the past, all archaeological historians had for restoration and research were photographs, drawings, remnants, and intuition. So basically, this is before the advent of internet and digitization. At that point in time, they had to depend on the manual drawings or the photographs taken by people to study and research these ancient sites. But that's changing. Before the earthquake at Bagan, many of the temples on the site were scanned, and these scans are on Google's Arts and Culture site. The digital renditions allow viewers to virtually wander the halls of the temple, look up close at paintings and turn the building over to look up at its chambers, which means that Google is uploading the 3D images so that people can have a virtual walkthrough. Google Arts and Culture works with museums and other non-profit organizations to put high-quality images online. So Google works with non-profit organizations and museums to do this. The images of the temples in Bagan are a part of collaboration with SIAC, a non-profit that creates the 3D scanning of the historic sites. So one such non-profit organization is SIAC that works with Google for preserving the images of Bagan. Google says it doesn't make money off this website. So Google says it is free of cost, available to everyone. But it fits with Google's mission to make the world's information available and useful. Critics say that the collaboration could be an attempt by a large corporation to wrap itself in the sheen of culture. That means Google is trying to pretend. So this is questioning Google's intent. Ethan Wottrell, an archaeologist and professor at Michigan State University and member of the Society for American Archaeology, says he is not comfortable with the arrangement between SIAC and Google. So we have to note this down. So Wottrell is not comfortable with the arrangement between Google and SIAC. Wottrell says this project is just a way for Google to promote Google. So again, he's questioning the intent. Google's intent is, according to him, is to promote itself. They want to make this material accessible so people will browse it and be filled with wonder by it, he says. But at its core, it's all about advertisements and driving traffic. So basically, Google is trying to promote itself. Wottrell says these images belong to a site of a museum or educational institution. So according to him, the images should be on the site of the museums. There's another issue for some archaeologists and historians. SIAC owns the copyrights of the scans. Again, the question of copyrights is coming in, not the countries where these sites are located. That means the countries need SIAC's permission to use these images for commercial purposes. Eric Thompson, a professor of art crime at John Jay College of Criminal Justice in New York City, says it's the latest example of a Western nation appropriating a foreign culture. So we noted this down as digital colonialism. So this is a Western nation appropriating or taking away a foreign culture. So this is what Eric Thompson is objecting to. SIAC says it copyrights the scans so that no one can use them in an inappropriate way. The company says it works closely with the authorities during the process. So according to SIAC, they are saying they work closely with closely with the countries or the authorities. So they are not doing anything wrong is what they are saying. Even training local people to help, but critics like Thompson are not persuaded. She would prefer the scans to be owned by the countries and people where these sites are located. So now we've understood the essence of the passage. It's talking about preservation of cultural sites, and Google is trying to do that in collaboration with SIAC, but there are some questions raised around that, mainly around the intent of Google and the ownership of the copyrights. So this is the essence of the passage, and let's move to the questions. By digital colonialism, the critics of SIAC Google project are referring to the fact that, and the options are, number one, SIAC and Google have not shared the details of digitization with the host countries. Now, this is not correct because SIAC is saying that it works closely with the authorities. So this is not correct. Countries where the scanned sites are located do not own the scanned copyrights. So this is true because it's very clearly said that the scanned copyrights is owned by SIAC. So it is a question of ownership of the copyright, which is this, and it very clearly says that the host country do not own the copyright. So this is the correct answer. The other options are the scanning process can damage delicate frescoes and statues at sites. This is nowhere mentioned in the passage, so this is irrelevant, not mentioned. SIAC and Google had been scanning images without copyright permission from the host countries. This is not correct because they are working closely with the host countries. So this is not correct. So the correct option is option 2, which says countries where the scanned sites are located do not own the scanned copyrights. This is clearly stated in the passage. We move to the next question, which says, of the following arguments, which one is least likely to be used by companies that digitally scan the cultural sites? Least likely to be used. So let's see the options. It provides images free of cost to all users. This is correct because Google clearly said that it's free of cost. It enables people who cannot physically visit the sites to experience them. This is also correct because it says that it is uploaded for everyone. So anyone can scan the images, not scan, anyone can see the images, have a virtual walkthrough from anywhere in the world. The third option is it allows a large corporation to project itself as a protector of culture. Now this is the point that is debated. If you remember, Watrall is saying that Google is trying to promote itself and it is trying to pretend to be a protector of culture. So this is being debated and questioned. So Google will not put forward this argument as a favorable argument for scanning the cultural sites. And the last option is it helps preserve precious images in case the sites are damaged or destroyed, which is true, and that is the main intent with which Google is working. So preservation of precious images is correct. So it will definitely say that it's trying to do this, but option 3 is something which is being questioned and debated. So it will definitely not put forward this argument as a favorable argument. So this is the correct answer. Option 3 is the correct answer. We move to question number 8, which says, in Dr. Thompson's view, SIAC owned the copyright of its digital scans of the archaeological sites is akin to, which means it is similar to. Akin means similar. So SIAC's owning the copyright of its digital scans is similar to what? Option 1 is seizing of Egyptian artifacts by a Western museum. This is the correct option because it is clearly said that it is an example of a Western culture taking away or appropriating a foreign culture as an example of digital colonialism, and that is what Thompson was saying. So Thompson was saying this. So yes, this is the correct option. The other options are tourists uploading photos of monuments onto social media. No, this is not the meaning of SIAC's ownership of the copyrights. Digital platforms capturing users' data for market research. This has nothing to do with the copyright. The illegal downloading of content from the internet. This is not similar to SIAC's ownership of the copyrights. We move to question number 9. Based on his views mentioned in the passage, one could best characterize Dr. Wottrell as being. So basically, Dr. Wottrell was not comfortable with the arrangement between Google and SIAC. So we noted that down. Not comfortable with the arrangement between Google and SIAC. So let's see what are the options. The first one says dismissive of lay people's access to specialist images of archaeological and cultural sites. Wottrell is not against that, so he's not saying anything about that. The second one says uneasy about the marketing of archaeological images for commercial use by firms such as Google and SIAC. Now he's not talking about marketing at all. He is talking about the intent of Google, and that is what his question. So he's critical about the links between a non-profit and a commercial tech platform for distributing archaeological images. This is exactly what his objection is. He is objecting to the collaboration between Google and SIAC. So this is the correct answer. The fourth one says opposed to the use of digital technology in archaeological and cultural sites in developing countries. No, he's not opposed to that. He's not opposed to the use of digital technology. He's just opposed to the collaboration between Google and SIAC. We move to question number 10. Which of the following, if true, would most strongly invalidate Dr. Wottrell's objections? Which means Dr. Wottrell is objecting to the fact that Google is collaborating with SIAC and is trying to promote itself, and is saying that these images should remain in this on the website of the museum or the institution itself. So let's see what are the options. If there is a ban on SIAC's scanning archaeological sites located in other countries, so which means if SIAC is prevented from scanning the images, then what Dr. Wottrell is saying will become true. So this is not going to invalidate, this is going to strengthen Wottrell's argument. So this is not correct. Google takes down advertisements on its website hosting SIAC's scanned images. That is a possibility, but it is not what Wottrell wants. Because Google is is not charging anything, it's free of cost. So let's park this for a moment. SIAC does not own the copyright on scanned images of the archaeological sites. So if this is true, then it will strengthen the argument of Thompson, not Wottrell. because Thompson is questioning the copyright issue. Watrell is not questioning the copyright issue, is questioning the intent issue. So this is not related to Watrell's argument directly. And the last option says SciArc uploads its scanned images of archaeological sites onto museum websites only. And this is exactly what Watrell is talking about. So Watrell wants the images to be on the website of the museums, and if this is done, then Watrell's objections will be overruled. So it will be invalidated. So number 4, which is SciArc uploads its scanned images of the archaeological sites onto museum websites only, is the most appropriate option.